Have you ever met someone who, despite their age, keeps making the same mistakes over and over, whether in relationships, career decisions, or personal habits? Maybe it's a friend who always falls for the wrong partner, or a colleague who never learns from past failures. Or perhaps you've noticed it in yourself, certain patterns that keep repeating, no matter how many years pass. There's a common belief that growing older automatically brings wisdom, but that's not true. Everyone ages, but not everyone matures. Aging is passive. It happens to you whether you like it or not. Maturity, on the other hand, is intentional. It requires self-reflection, learning, and growth. So ask yourself, are you merely accumulating years? Or are you truly evolving? Are you stuck in the same cycles? Or are you learning from your experiences? The difference between simply aging and genuinely maturing is awareness. To truly understand this, let's break it down into 4 key ideas. Before we begin, be sure to subscribe to the Mature Soul channel so you don't miss the next videos on personal and spiritual growth. You will find content that inspires challenges and transforms the way you see life. And now, let's begin. 1. The passive versus the active life. Life can be lived in 2 ways, passively or actively. A passive life is one where a person simply moves through time, reacting to events without deep reflection or growth. It's a life driven by habit, routine, and external circumstances. On the other hand, an active life is one where a person consciously engages with their experiences, learns from them, and evolves. The key distinction between these 2 paths is awareness. A passive life is much like sleepwalking. People in this state live on autopilot, going through the motions without truly being present. They wake up, go to work, interact with others, and face challenges, but they do so without mindfulness. They rarely stop to ask, what am I learning from this? How can I grow? As a result, they repeat the same mistakes, hold on to unhelpful patterns, and let opportunities for personal growth slip by unnoticed. They age, but they do not mature. Conversely, an active life is one of conscious engagement. It is about being fully present in every experience, reflecting on past actions, and making intentional choices about the future. Someone living actively doesn't just experience joy or pain. They analyze these feelings, understand their roots, and use them to develop wisdom. They approach challenges not as obstacles but as lessons. If they make a mistake, they study it, absorb its lesson, and ensure they do not repeat it. In doing so, they do not just age, they mature. Imagine 2 people facing the same failure. One views it as bad luck and moves on without much thought. The other takes time to reflect. What went wrong? What could I have done differently? How can I grow from this? The second person, through awareness, transforms failure into wisdom. Over time, this small but crucial difference determines whether someone evolves or remains stuck in the same patterns year after year. Living passively often seems easier. It requires less effort, less discomfort, and fewer difficult realizations. But an active life, though sometimes painful, leads to greater fulfillment, wisdom, and ultimately, true maturity. By embracing awareness, we shift from merely aging to genuinely growing. 2. Repetition versus growth. One of the biggest differences between simply aging and truly maturing lies in how we handle life's repeated patterns. Many people go through the same experiences again and again without learning from them. They react in the same way, make the same mistakes, and face the same frustrations. This cycle of repetition keeps them stuck, preventing real growth. On the other hand, those who mature use repetition as a tool for learning. They recognize patterns, reflect on their choices, and make adjustments to grow. Consider someone who struggles with anger. They get frustrated at work, argue with their family, and regret their outbursts, but the pattern continues. Despite feeling guilty, they do nothing to understand or change the response. This is repetition without awareness. True growth, however, comes when someone pauses to reflect. Why do I react this way? What triggers my anger? What can I do differently next time? By seeking to understand their emotions and making small, conscious changes, they begin to break free from the cycle. Repetition is not inherently bad. In fact, repetition is necessary for mastery. Athletes train by repeating the same movements, musicians practice the same notes, and professionals refine their skills through experience. However, the key difference is intentional repetition versus mindless repetition. A person who repeats something without reflection remains stagnant. A person who repeats with awareness refines their abilities and grows. Growth requires discomfort. It demands that we step outside our comfort zones, acknowledge our mistakes, and take responsibility for change. Many people resist this because it is easier to stay the same, even if that means repeating old pain. However, those who embrace growth choose to face their patterns head-on. They reflect, adjust, and evolve. Imagine two individuals in a failing relationship. One keeps blaming external circumstances, their partner, bad timing, stress, but never changes their own approach. The other reflects, asks deeper questions, and learns from the experience. Over time, this difference determines whether someone continues making the same relationship mistakes or builds healthier connections in the future. Maturity comes from recognizing patterns in our lives and choosing to break the unhelpful ones. Instead of simply aging and repeating the same cycles, we must actively engage with our experiences, extract lessons, and apply them. Only then can we truly grow. 3. Living in reaction versus living in awareness. Most people go through life reacting impulsively to situations, emotions, and events. If someone criticizes them, they get defensive. If things don't go their way, they become frustrated. They respond automatically, repeating the same unhelpful behaviors. This reactive way of living is unconscious. It is habitual. And when we live in reaction, we surrender control of our lives. Living in awareness, on the other hand, means responding to life deliberately rather than impulsively. It means stepping back, observing emotions, and making conscious choices. Instead of being ruled by temporary feelings, we take charge of how we engage with the world. Take, for example, someone stuck in traffic. A reactive person gets irritated, honks, and complains, letting stress ruin their day. An aware person acknowledges the frustration, but doesn't let it consume them. They might take a deep breath, listen to music, or use the time to reflect. The situation is the same, but the experience is different. Awareness helps break destructive cycles. A reactive person lets anxiety or anger take over, reinforcing negative emotions. An aware person recognizes these feelings, questions their source, and gradually transforms them. Over time, awareness turns fear into growth. Relationships also benefit from awareness. Many conflicts arise because people react emotionally rather than responding thoughtfully. If a friend or partner says something hurtful, a reactive person lashes out or shuts down. An aware person pauses to consider, what did they mean? What is my emotional response? How should I communicate constructively? This shift from reaction to awareness transforms relationships, turning conflict into understanding. Developing awareness takes practice, mindfulness, self-reflection, and emotional intelligence. It means observing emotions without immediately acting on them. Instead of being pulled by impulses, an aware person remains centered. Ultimately, those who live reactively are at the mercy of emotions and circumstances. Those who cultivate awareness create their own reality. The choice is ours. Stay stuck in reaction, or awaken to a life of deeper understanding and intentional growth. Fourth, fear of pain versus embracing the fullness of life. Many people go through life avoiding pain at all costs. They shy away from difficult emotions, uncomfortable situations, and challenges that could help them grow. They choose safety over risk, routine over transformation, and comfort over change. But in doing so, they do not truly live. They merely exist. Pain is inevitable. Trying to escape it leads to a limited existence where joy is dulled, opportunities are missed, and growth is stunted. The truth is, pain and joy are connected. The more we shield ourselves from discomfort, the less we can experience true happiness. Every great achievement, every deep relationship, and every moment of true fulfillment requires some level of risk, uncertainty, and vulnerability. Consider someone hurt in a past relationship. Instead of healing and moving forward, they close themselves off, fearing more pain. They avoid love to stay safe, but also deny themselves connection and joy. Meanwhile, another person, though hurt, remains open. They know pain is part of love, but so is happiness. By embracing life fully, they allow themselves to grow. The same applies to careers, friendships, and personal ambitions. Without risk, there is no reward. This applies to any challenge, failure, loss, disappointment. Avoiding them leads to stagnation, while facing them builds resilience. Instead of asking, "How can I avoid pain?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" Hardship, when embraced, becomes a path to maturity. Pain is not the enemy. It is a teacher, a catalyst for transformation. Even deep sorrow holds beauty. Just as muscles grow through strain, the human spirit strengthens through adversity. By facing both joy and pain, we fully experience life. Those who fear suffering remain stagnant, but those who embrace it gain wisdom, strength, and true fulfillment. Life's richest experiences are found not in avoidance, but in fully engaging with everything it has to offer. The highs and the lows, the victories and the losses, the laughter and the tears. Embracing life means accepting both joy and pain. It means stepping outside of comfort zones, risking failure, opening up to love, and allowing oneself to feel deeply. Those who fear pain remain stagnant, but those who face it with courage experience the full depth of what it means to be alive. What do you think about the 4 key ideas above? Let's conclude. The difference between merely aging and truly maturing lies in awareness. If we live unconsciously, we simply accumulate years. But if we engage fully with life, reflect on our experiences, and actively seek growth, we gain something far greater than age. We gain wisdom. Maturity is a choice. It requires stepping out of autopilot, questioning our patterns, and embracing life with full awareness. It means breaking free from repetitive cycles, responding rather than reacting, and accepting both pain and joy as essential parts of the journey. So, ask yourself, are you merely aging, or are you maturing? Are you repeating the same patterns, or are you learning from them? Are you living in reaction, or are you choosing awareness? The path to true growth is always open. It begins with a simple decision: to wake up, to observe, and to fully engage with the experience of life. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What are your thoughts on the difference between aging and maturity? Have you noticed patterns in your own life that you've broken through awareness? Share your insights below.